Yay! Okay, this Paul Vato, Paul Vato presents. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I have Denise Taylor, Fitness Over 40 for Women. I'm putting her website Vato. We are live on Fireside. On my video. Oh, so we're just gonna let some people in. Everyone, invite some people. Invite everyone. All YouTube. Well, I'm gonna try something out. Deborah, I hope it's fine. We're gonna start with the clapping. Then I'll turn it off. All right. You know what? This is a great place to stop. Hey, bravo, and welcome everyone to Paul Vato Presents. My name is Paul Vato. I might have to add that new last name, Presents. And my guest today is Bernice Taylor. She's an online fitness coach who specializes in women over 40. And she's also an Instagram and TikTok growth strategist. She has millions of views. I mean, millions of views and hundreds of thousands of followers across these different platforms, so she can get your social media up to date, up to speed. She's a wonderful, most importantly, she's a wonderful person and just so inspirational and so motivational. I find myself, if you can get me, Paul Vato, to start moving and exercising, you must be doing something right. And it's not hard, it's not difficult. I love what you do, Bernice, and I love your energy. So Bernice Taylor, thank you so much for being here, and welcome to Fireside.
Thank you, Paul. This is new for me. This is the first time I've been on Fireside, so it's going to be a new experience. Thank you for inviting me.
It is my absolute pleasure. I've been wanting to chat with you for a while now, and I thought this would be just such a great platform. And maybe you'll like it, and maybe you'll join us on here because there is that video aspect. It doesn't have to be on video. I like to record these live, so then I'll go back and I'll do a little editing and bring the show together. But for the most part, I like putting it out there live, and then we have people in the audience. Welcome, Deborah Barsha. You know, people can come up, ask questions if you're open to that. But I'm just so excited to have you and to learn more about you and what motivates you, what inspired you. I know that you have an interesting backstory and your education and your family and your marriage. I thought you were single. That's why I had you on, I'll be honest. And then I found out you're married. Husband's out there, is he?
That's funny.
Thank you. Thank you. You know I'm a comedian, and please, with all due respect, of course. So, Bernice, welcome. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, a little bit of your background, where you're from, where maybe a little bit of where you grew up, but then also what you're doing now, more importantly.
Okay, so I was born and raised in Ghana, West Africa. And we came to we meaning my family, my parents, and my siblings came to the United States in '79. And since then, I trained as I'm educated as a chemist. I have a bachelor's in chemistry, and I have a master's of science in analytical chemistry. And so I worked in the industry for quite some time, for about 9 years. And then came home to be with my kids for 6 years because I had a son that was severely delayed in speech. So I came home to work with him and worked from home while I worked with him. And just a little caveat, that son is now an electrical engineer. So so then after that, after being home with them for six years, I didn't want to be back in corporate because it was too rigid. And so I got my teaching degree and went on to teach in middle school and high school math. And until I had some issues with AFib and supraventricular tachycardia with my heart. And I had a catheter ablation, but there were some complications. So I had to come out of the classroom and I had a long recuperation. And during that time, ate well, exercised, got myself stronger, went back into the field as a lab coordinator for a community college. And so that wasn't as taxing as being a chemist in corporate. So just doing my side hustle, which was fitness. I've always loved fitness. In college, I was teaching aerobic classes in our dormitory. So I've always loved fitness, and just started doing it on the side. And then during the pandemic, I was able to quit my job and come do it full time. I'll stop here if there are any questions.
Wonderful. I'm so fascinated by your story. And you know what? I don't think I knew that you were actually born in in West Africa. You said in
Yes.
Ghana. Do you speak the language? What's the
Absolutely.
language?
Absolutely. I still do,
Amazing.
yes, because I was 14 and a half when I came to the United States. So that's what I speak it with my siblings. And when my parents were alive, God rest their souls, we spoke. In Fanti is our language. So Fante.
Fanti.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to learn it one of these days. I would love to travel, and I love languages. And yeah, so of course, I would love to learn all sorts of languages. Now, what was that like coming here to a new country, and then high school, basically, correct? I mean, just
Right.
jumping into high school. And what part of the country did you move to, if you want to share that? Where did you end up
Yes.
moving to? And did you
We
live in
moved
several
to
places?
New Jersey. We moved to New Jersey, and I ended up at Madison High School in New Jersey. And it was an awful experience for me because coming from a different country, when you come from an African country, there's this misconception of where you're coming from. People think, oh, you're coming from a hut. Or where I grew up, my dad was in the military, retired from the military. He was a chaplain general. I grew up having like a driver and a maid. And so to come to a country where you're judged by the color of your skin, and not only were we, when I say we, my younger sister and I were in school together, and we were ostracized not just by the white students, but also the black students. So I actually have one true black student that I connected with and have kept with for all these years. But yeah, it was traumatizing. My sister and I were talking about that because they came up with this chant when we were walking in the hallway, just this asinine chant like binga bunga bungo, right? And when you're 14 and a half, 15, it stresses you out. So we were talking about that the other day. It was horrifying. There's some songs that I hear from the 80s that just trigger that memory. It comes on and I'm like, oh, I remember sitting there, could not even swallow my cereal because it was time to go to school.
Oh my goodness. And of course, a lot of us hear those same songs and they bring back all these happy memories, and you're like, oh my God, the 80s, I miss them. And you've had quite a different experience. I'm sure it was very traumatizing, but it just shows, the ignorance that we don't know, people don't know. And of course, they're like, oh, you're from Africa. Yes, you must have lived like you said, in a hut. You must
Right.
have, you were in the jungle, right? Is that, and they don't realize that there's so many different parts of Africa. I
Right.
remember once I told somebody that I was going to Africa for the weekend, and they were like, oh, okay, cool. Like they had no idea that it's not somewhere that you go for just the weekend. Like it would
Right.
take me like 2 days to get there, or a day, or whatever. But I think as Americans, sometimes we're just so ignorant of other cultures and other countries because we're so isolated here, speaking one language. But then you obviously you had already learned English in
Right.
school growing up in Africa.
Actually at home. So we spoke both English and our language at home. So by the time you go to school, you know, you're speaking English in school, but you can also speak your language with other friends. And you notice I call it languages and I don't call it dialects because I think it's disingenuous to call them dialects when they have alphabets, whole alphabets for the languages, and they're complete languages. There are some languages that are so dissimilar in the same country that you wouldn't be able to understand if you didn't speak that language. So it's disingenuous to call it dialects. So I never call them dialects, I call them languages.
That makes perfect sense because, and I love languages and I love learning that. And I know that some languages do have dialects, but no, if a language has its own history and its own alphabet and its own sounds, I mean, that's a different language. But just
Yeah.
what? Because they're in the same country, people are like, oh, what dialect of Fonte
Yes.
do you speak? You're like, no, that's one
Right.
language. Interesting, very interesting. But does Fonte have dialects? Are there different dialects of Fonte
So
or
the Akan, AKAN language, has the Fanti tree off branch, right? So I could be speaking Fanti and somebody could be speaking tree and we can communicate perfectly. But I could not, if it wasn't in the Akan language, if somebody was speaking Ga, for instance, GA, it's completely different. And I would have to have known how to speak Ga in order to understand them. Or Ewe, which is completely different, you know? So, yes, to answer your question.
Thank you. And thank you so much because I find all that very fascinating and interesting. I'm learning Italian, I'm learning Russian, and I studied these previously, college and whatnot. But so at the risk of exposing my ignorance, are there tribes? Were you part of a are there still, is that called a tribe or is that even
Yes.
offensive to ask or what is
Yes. So it's the Fanti tribe are those that speak the Fanti language. The Ashanti tribe are those that speak the Ashanti language. Yes, but tribe in the sense that we have a lineage together, right? That's basically it. But I grew up in the capital city of Ghana, which is Accra. And that's where I was born and raised. I did visit my grandmother and my great grandmother in the village when I was growing up, but I definitely grew up in Accra, the capital city.
don't you mean Accra? No, I'm totally kidding.
Right. I have to correct people. It's that plantain and plantain thing, right? Or shea butter
Sure.
and shea butter. So it's
Yes. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That is so fascinating. And I'm sure we could go on for hours about that. And I would love to because I love that history. And of course, Africa is on my bucket list. I need to visit, I need to go there. And, obviously, I did my DNA and I think there's like 1 or 2% African there. So I have to get back to my roots as well. So
yeah.
wonderful. So then you went to school, you went to high school and then college. Did you stay in New Jersey or where did you attend college?
No, so my first 2 years was actually at a small college in Barberville, Kentucky, of all places. Because my dad was a Methodist minister, I got some scholarships. I applied and got some scholarships through the Methodist Church. So I was able to go to this college for 2 years. And then I transferred my junior and senior year. I finished at University of Missouri Columbia, and then after Columbia, then came to University of Missouri Kansas City for my master's, and got hired before I defended my dissertation and stayed with that company for 9 years.
And look at you now, just doing stuff online. Unbelievable. Sorry. What's your degree in? What did you get your master's in then?
Analytical chemistry. So when you think about forensic science, the people that do the do the testing, right? They have to know all the instruments, the instrumentation that it takes to test. And so that was what my degree was in, the instrumentation for testing chemicals and the like.
Wonderful. And then you went into that world. You were actually working there up
Yes.
until.
I work for a company called, I don't mind mentioning their name because I have a great relationship with them to this day, Lab Conco. And a lot of people might know them because they manufacture laboratory equipment. So when you go into a lab, you might see their fume hood, you might see their, their freeze dry equipment. You might see. So my specialty was water purification and glassware washers for laboratories. Those were my specialties. I worked in the engineering department, even though I was a chemist, and I was over a couple of engineers.
Wonderful. And somewhere along the way, you met. Is it Robert? Is Robert your husband? And you guys.
Roger.
What is
Yes,
it?
Roger.
Yes,
R-O-G-E-R.
Roger. My apologies. So, you know what? Let me take that again. I'll cut it out. So, along the way, you met Roger, your wonderful husband, and you guys have 3 kids and 3
Yes.
grandkids. Is that the case?
Yes, that is
Where did
correct. And one on the way, one coming in October. So, yes. So,
you're having another child?
no, another grandchild coming.
Got it. I was going to say this fitness is Denise, or should I say Roger? Oh my goodness, that had me there. No, I knew what you were talking about. So congratulations, another grandchild. That's fantastic. So
Thank you.
wonderful, so wonderful. And
Thank you.
are your kids close by? Do you get to see them often, or?
Yes, my daughter and granddaughter live with us because unfortunately she's going through a divorce. And then my oldest son he lives close by. And then my middle son lives on the East Coast with his wife. And then the oldest one also lives here with his wife and 2 daughters.
But in this day and age with Zoom and FaceTime, I hope that he's a good son and he calls you often
Oh,
and you guys still.
absolutely.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. We FaceTime. Yes. Yes, we FaceTime. Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about social media. Were you always into social media? Were you always an early adapter? What happened? Because I know that you're killing it on social media, and I'm sure a lot of people that are listening and tuning in want to know your secrets because you are an Instagram and TikTok growth strategist, and you've helped me tremendously. I just, from learning from you and other people, I posted a video and I've gotten 10.6 million views, which blows my mind. It's unfathomable at Paul Vato on Instagram. But yes, you help people with that, but then also this fitness journey. And I understand, it came from a medical condition, but then you really got into the fitness and specifically helping women in their 40s and over.
Yes. Yes. So even though I was into fitness and love teaching aerobics and all of that, I let myself go. So because I was taking care of my mother-in-law, she was sick at the time. And so she was my focus and I didn't care what I was eating. I was eating junk food and that creeps up on you. If it's what you put in your body, right? So I'm not eating foods that are high in fiber. If I'm eating processed foods, it's going to pack on the weight. And so, I had gained weight and it's on social media. I have it on my YouTube, what I looked like. And it wasn't that I was overly obese or anything, but I was unhealthy, right? You don't have to be huge to be unhealthy. And you can tell when that middle, I call it the tire, right? If it starts going out, then you know that you're getting unhealthy. And so I decided then that I needed to take care of myself and get back to working out, eating right. And so I started doing that. Unfortunately, my mother-in-law passed away July of that year. That's 2016. And I had started getting myself together, and I was already getting back in shape, looking good. And then I went to visit my niece in Virginia with my son, because my son had an internship. And so went to visit her, and I saw all these boxes for her dialysis, right? Because she was on peritoneal dialysis. And we are a praying family. So we get together on phone conference call every Sunday religiously, and we pray together. And it's something my mother instituted, and my mother has been gone for 11 years now, and she started that, and we continued it. And so we had been praying for my niece to get a kidney, and then it touched my heart. Call it the Holy Spirit, like, why are you praying for somebody else to give her a kidney? Why don't you get tested? So after seeing that, I came back and I quietly started getting tested. I didn't tell anybody except for two people: my youngest sister, who's my best friend, and my husband, who's also my best friend. So I told them, but nobody else. Didn't tell my children, didn't tell my best friends that are not family. And went through all the testing and found out I was a match. So broke the news to my sister and my niece, of course, first, because she's the one that needs the kidney. She was 31 at the time. And so that same year, 2016, where I had gotten myself together, that same December 20th, I donated one of my kidneys to her. And so after that, then it's imperative that I take care of myself, because I was 52 when I did that. So you can't take it for granted. When you have one kidney, that's it. You can't have high blood pressure. Even medications are limited. I can't take NSAIDs. I can't do contact sports. So you're limited, and so it's very important that I take care of myself. And I just use that as a segue to also help other women my age, regardless of what their health is.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations. And what an experience that must have been, being able to give a kidney to someone and save their life. I'm guessing. I mean, that's what you did. But then the health journey. Did you have to get healthy before you did that, or was it just
I was
afterwards?
already, because I had already been on that journey that same year. And so I was already healthy. And so all my numbers were good. All my numbers were great. And so that helped me considerably. Yes.
Amazing, amazing. So then you're still working, and then so take us up to maybe the pandemic 2020. And when did you step away then from your work full time and to start doing social media?
Right. So even if you look back on Instagram, if you if you can even scroll that far back, because I'm a content creator, but you'll see where I'm in a lab coat in a laboratory giving advice a lot of times, or I'm dancing in a lab coat. So I was always doing this as a side hustle, right? But it wasn't really paying really at the time. But I was doing it because I knew I could build it up someday to be something. So fast forward to the pandemic, now everybody is watching YouTube. So now I start going live on YouTube. I start, increasing and focusing, because now I'm working from home. And if you're a lab coordinator where I'm mixing chemicals for laboratories and the like, I'm not able to do that. So all I can do now is just paperwork at home. And so, and trainings, right? So I just took that opportunity to work on my social media, started doing that, and started having a following gradually. And so I came home March 2020, July 16th, 2020, I quit my job. And at that time, social media wasn't really paying me to replace my paycheck. So I took on clients and managed their social media so I could have a steady income while I was building up my brand.
What, may I ask you, what is a fair price for someone to charge someone to manage their social media? Were you doing all of it? Like, hey, I'll manage your Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or was it on a case by case basis?
And it is because individuals are a lot less expensive than a company. So for a company at the time, I was charging $1,200 for that month. So, and it wasn't just one platform. And I would actually make the content and I would post the content on their behalf and in some cases engage on their behalf. And then I was in Clubhouse on 2021 and I was hearing all these strategists talking and I'm like, I am working way too hard for way too little.
Because 1,200 sounds like a lot, but then you start doing all the work and you're like,
Right,
I'm making $10 an hour here. What's going on?
right,
Because it could be endless, so
right.
that's wonderful. That's something we have to be careful of. But now you're making your living full time from
Yes,
either what content creation,
yes,
sponsorships, I'm guessing, and then also
yes.
coaching.
So I have a platform where all these reels that you see that I do, I have the longer form that is on my platform, which I actually warm up, do the workout, cool down with them. So it's a longer workout and it's a subscription basis. So it's $10 a month, and or people can purchase a 6-month subscription, which some people do, and they get a $10 discount, so it's $50, or they can buy a 1-year subscription, which some people do, and they save $20, so it's $100 for the year. So I have my own platform, and then I also thankfully get paid on quite a few platforms because of where I am. I get paid through those platforms, and I'm finding out that I get invited to early adoption of things, right? And so when they invite you early, the pay is usually great when it starts. Later on, as more people come on, the pay goes down, as you can see with Reels. However, I've benefited in that. I'm also an affiliate with several companies, and I have my own workout clothing line that I'm working on that's coming out. The prototypes should be ready in maybe the next couple of weeks, and so I'll start wearing them on camera just to get a feel for what people like, and just to test the market before we go decide which ones we want to do in production.
Amazing. That's wonderful. Well, I think people might be hearing this here for the first time. So thank you for at least letting us be one of the early ones to know about that. Where can people find you? What's the best place for someone to connect with Bernice Taylor?
Right. So on all my social media platforms, I have a Linktree link. So that Linktree link will take you to my website, which currently is 50somethingoriginal.com, because when I first started, I was 50 something. I was for women over 50. And I found that it was a better market to do. Thank you. So I was leaving a whole bunch of people out from 40 to 49. So I found out it was better to include the over 40 group as well. So I'm in the process of changing my website to Bernice Taylor Fitness. So that's the only thing I haven't changed, and my Linktree. But on all my social media platforms, like I was saying, that Linktree will get you to wherever you need to go for me.
Wonderful. Well, for those of you here live on Fireside, of course, you guys know about the fortune cookie. So I've added not only my website, paulvatopresents.com, but also Bernice's Instagram. And from there, you can find her Linktree that'll take you to her platform. What platform do you use for your private club, if you will, which I think is genius because, Facebook could go away, Instagram could go away. But if you have your own community on your own platform, it's wonderful. I mean, it's a great place to build that community. Would you mind sharing who you like to use for that?
Sure. So of course, the host of my website is HostGator, which I'm getting, I want to leave because there have been some issues, and I've been with them for years. So I will get a new host company, and I hopefully would not be a managed host company. I want it to be a cloud hosting company, because then my website would be a lot faster. I get more, more amenities. I can offer more. But aside from that host, I there's a company called Arqueta. It's made by it was developed by yoga instructors, and that's the platform where you can integrate with your own website to offer these on-demand classes. I can do live classes because I can integrate Zoom, which I've done before. It's integrated with my Calendly. So that's the company that I'm using now is Arqueta. It used to be called Supra Pro, SUPRA, suprapro.com, I think is still the website. I think is still that. But that's the platform that I use. And you get these widgets where you can put on your website. So it's totally integrated. So people come to your website and they can schedule you, they can get into the community, they can get the on-demand videos right then and there on your website. Yeah.
Wonderful. I love the fact, and you've kept the price so affordable for people. $10 a month. I mean, come on, for your health. And the videos I've seen from you, phenomenal. I love what you post on your social media. It's like, I can do that. You just get people moving, and that's wonderful how inspirational and
Thank you.
motivational you are. Yeah, Bernice,
Thank you.
yeah, round of applause
Thank
for
you.
because that you're doing God's work. That's fantastic. But then you also, with your growth strategist, again, you've given me some great advice. What's kind of the process for that? Somebody reaches out, and then you see if you want to work with them, type of a thing, and then what? You look over their social media and then tell them how they can grow it. How does that work?
Right. So I'm changing that a little bit, but how it works is right now they can come talk to me on Owwll. Owwll is an audio app. Owwll
Yeah,
is an
wow.
audio app where you can connect with experts. And so even though I'm fitness first on Owwll, I'm solely social media. And so you can talk to me right now. I'm really inexpensive. I'm $3 for 10 minutes right now because it's a new app. And I'm also a brand ambassador for Owwll. So we're trying to get more people on there. And so super inexpensive right now. And then you can book me offline. I usually will send a Calendly link. And then it's $200 for one platform and $350 for TikTok and Instagram. I'm changing it because I'm finding out maybe not everybody has that right away. So if I do a subscription where it's really low, that's a monthly subscription, then maybe what they can do is they can also continue to, tap into asking me for ideas as the months progress, and they have different things that they want to bounce off of me. So I'm in the process of doing that. But in the meantime, that 1 hour, that $200, I research that person's niche ahead of time. I put together a schedule ahead of time before we meet, exactly what we're going to talk about. I give them 5 reels I want them to do, different types of reels. And I give them the trending music that I want them to use. And I tell them to watch it, and whichever ones work well, you rinse and repeat. And so that's what I do now. But I'm definitely going to be incorporating the subscription, because I believe some people may not have that 200 or 350 right away, but they can pay whatever, $30 a month to get going and get some help. So
I think that's brilliant, and you're right. There's thousands more that have $30 a month than have the 300 or 350. And the thing is, it's one of these things that's necessary, but it's like, well, I don't have the money to do it. But once you do it, you might get the money because through
yes,
sponsorships, brand deals
Yes.
and just growing. I've already had people start reaching out to me just because of this spike in traffic on my Instagram. So I feel like it's all coming together. And of course, I got a lot of great advice from the clubhouse rooms when we were there on Clubhouse, and
Yes.
speaking to you on Owwll and whatnot. And I would definitely encourage people to sign up for Owwll.
Yeah.
Bernice has a sign up code. I have one as well. But sign up and call Bernice, because $3 for 10 minutes, and then you can always add more time. But that's, I mean, to have your questions answered, that's invaluable. But the nice thing is then you can get these people to possibly sign up to your monthly program, and you're thinking somewhere around $30 might be the magic number.
I'm thinking that, yes. I'm thinking that because make it affordable for people. I have another Instagram called Social Media Cohort, but I haven't really done much on there. And I have been thinking that I want to resurrect that and put all the tips of social media on that, on Social Media Cohort, because it's not fitness. Because doing the strategies are separate from the fitness world. So I'm going to resurrect that Social Media Cohort Instagram. You'll start to see tips like how do I pin my top 3 reels, right? How do I do it? I'm going to show you a screen recording on how to do that on Social Media Cohort. And I'm also going to start other platforms, but not too many because I'm inundated right now. As you could tell, I wanted exactly this time slot because I was doing an ad all the way up to I came here, and then when I leave, I've got to post reels, and yes.
It really never ends. Uh, yes, round of applause, everyone. Round of
Thank
applause.
you.
Thank you for sharing a lot of that information. And please, if any of you guys have questions, please reach out to Bernice. And if you need help with your social media, definitely reach out to her, because, well, you do fitness both in physical health, but also social media. I mean, it's fantastic, the advice. Would you mind if we bring some people up if they have a few questions for you? Would you be okay with that?
Oh, not at all. Yes, bring them.
Oh, never mind. It's Deborah Barsha. Forget it. No, I'm kidding.
Yay, Deborah!
I
Yay,
just
Deborah's
I
here.
I'm just endorsing Bernice. I paid for some of Bernice's services, and I am blown away by the knowledge and the easiness that how she taught me through screen recordings. We actually had a Zoom at one point that I paid for her services, and it really has changed so much for me. And so I'm just endorsing Bernice because of her energy and dummies like me that learned a little bit slowly. She really was patient and took the time, and I just can't say enough about her.
Thank
Wonderful,
you.
Deborah.
Thank you.
Thank,
Love you,
thank you.
Deborah.
Love you too.
Checks in the mail.
You guys set this up. Is that what happened? No, I trust me. I've spoken to Bernice, so I know her knowledge. I know the power that she has. But Deborah, thank you so much for sharing your story. And you felt like it helped you with your social media, with your.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be next for me to do some of the fitness stuff with Bernice, which I mentioned to her back then, but definitely social media. I was like a TikTok dummy, and Bernice gave me a lot of tips and showed me specifically how to do certain things. And I have some of my music. It was Bernice's idea, just so you know. Why aren't you using your songs, which are on are on TikTok? They're there, and you can actually use them and do some stuff. And there's a really funny one she had me do, which is like do a do a dance to one of your songs that you wrote, and that way it's there. And just little tips that nobody really thinks about that really anyway. And I have the honor of Bernice mixing my, or what's it called on TikTok when you did it?
Duetting.
Duetting with me.
Wedding. Yes.
That was
I made up the dance too.
Yes, I forgot. She made the dance up that I'm doing to my own song. Of course, I don't look like Bernice doing it. I'm like 50 pounds heavier, but it doesn't matter. But
You
but
did great. You
thank you.
did great.
I'm literally endorsing because I have used Bernice's services, and I'm saying you won't be sorry. Period.
Thank you.
Thank you for your share, Deborah. That's amazing. How cool is that, though, to have your own music, legit music artist, have your own music on TikTok? I've
Yes.
experienced a little bit of that because I just thought I'd enter, and please, if you have a chance, enter Paul Vato on the gift search on TikTok and I think on Instagram as well. And there's a video, there's my famous photocopier video, but somebody added the guy from The Office, and then they wrote The Office with me in the background photocopying my butt and falling into it. I was like, but how does that GIF know that that's me in that GIF? Maybe because I've posted it before. I don't know, but I was kind of shocked that I'm also there. So I can only imagine what it's like to have your own music. But how cool is that to use your own music from Spotify in your own videos? I wouldn't have thought of that either.
Yes. And Deborah's amazing. Her songs, my gosh, she's very talented. Very, very talented.
Everyone also followed Deborah Barsha. Yeah, she's
Yes.
this prodigy, dare I say, who I think they just wrapped their show, the Tina Turner musical in New York. But thank you so much, Deborah, for sharing. And then I'd also like to, yes, round of applause for Deborah and for Bernice, everyone. And then let's welcome Chris Rossetti, if he's available. I don't know. He came up, I think.
How's it going?
Wonderful, Chris. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm willing to go on camera today because it's appropriate.
Uh-oh, you're breaking up. Is he breaking up?
Yes, I can't hear.
How about now?
I think so. You might be coming in. We'll cut this out of the podcast. No worries.
Okay, sorry about that.
No.
Hello. Hey, how you doing?
Hey. Yeah, I think Chris is having problems.
Oh, okay. My question is that I see that she's a fitness coach, and I'm vegetarian right now, and I was wondering if she can give me some foods that help me boost up my muscle intake.
So, protein. You want to increase your protein. And if you're a vegetarian, beans, right? Beans are a great source of protein. Nuts. Nuts are also another great source of protein that you can use. And there are I'm not a big fan of protein powders, but there are some protein powders that you can incorporate into your smoothies and into your meals that'll help.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. Is there anything I want to also concentrate more on my shoulders besides push-ups and pull-ups? So is there anything else that I can do that can make them
Yes,
bulge out?
there are a lot. There are a lot of workouts, especially with dumbbells, right? So do you have dumbbells at home?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay, so you can do presses, right? With dumbbells, you can do upper rows. You can do, even though when you do your tricep extensions, you're still working on your shoulders. So look them up. Those are a few things that I would recommend.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you
No
for your
problem.
time.
Fletcher, thank you so much for coming up and asking a great question. We do appreciate you. And I think we have Chris back. Let's see if his connection has gotten better. And welcome, Chris.
How's that?
Beautiful.
All righty. Go on camera. I want to show you where I'm at.
Let me invite you to camera.
Thank you, sir.
What?
So the reason I wanted to go on camera was because it's very encouraging what you're telling us. And I love on her website it says doing something is better than doing nothing.
Right.
4 weeks ago, I came out here to the college campus, community college in San Francisco, and I started doing stretches. I rode my scooter, and I sat on this football field doing stretches, and I could only walk 20 yards, 50, then 80, then 100. Then last week I walked 200 yards on the football field.
Excellent. Oh my gosh. Keep going. You rock. Keep going.
I love
I am so proud of you.
I love your message. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, doing something is better than nothing. Yes.
And look at where he's doing it. What a beautiful backdrop.
I know.
But still, it takes inspiration. It takes motivation. So thank you for being inspirational, both of you. So Chris, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's incredible. It's contagious. You know, your energy and just us. I think trying to help each other and get motivated. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for helping us. And I enjoy watching your videos, and they motivate me. It's very motivational. So thank you.
Thank you. I love what I do. I love what I do, and it's such a blessing to wake up in the morning and have my plan on what I need to do. I batch produce my reels, and I'm not very good about changing clothing when I do that. So sometimes you'll see like 6 reels in a row, and I have the same outfit. And one lady, one lady said to me on TikTok, she was like, Bernice, do you wear the same clothes? And I had done a 30-day challenge, right? And I batch produced the first 20 days in one day. And then I did the other 11 days. And so I had 2 outfits on for the whole 31 days. And she asked me if I wore the same clothes. And I was like, no, I batch produce. And I just don't have time to change clothing. And I don't get into that. I'm just focused on what I have to show.
I'm going to use that same excuse because if you look through all my videos, I either have this shirt or like a blue shirt or a black shirt. And I'm going to start saying that I batch produce, but I don't. But what I do is I leave the 3 shirts right in front of me where I record. And it's not like I wear them all the time. I just wear them when I record. So,
right.
But it does look like I never change my clothes.
Right. And I have to say that the clothing line that I talked to you about coming out is actually dedicated to my mom. So the names of the outfits will be my mom's different names.
That's wonderful. And it is, I would imagine, for women and geared towards women and towards working out. So for yoga, for just fitness in general.
Yes.
Do you have any videos or anything of you doing aerobics? Like, I don't know if you did it back in the 80s or 90s.
I do. I don't think I do have, because we were in the basement like of my dorm. So Lujet Hall in Missouri. If anybody was there in 1983 to 1985, Lujet Hall, I would be in the basement. Now there were girls that were upstairs doing Jane Fonda, and my group would go into the basement, and I just did my own. I formulated my own aerobics in college.
Amazing. Well, Bernice, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. And I know that you have a very busy day because I know you were creating ads earlier, and I think you have to go back to start to keep doing that. So if you'd like to share any final thoughts, of course, where people can find you right now, I have your link, which is instagram.com/therealBerniceTaylor. Anyone can find you there. But if you have any other websites that you'd like to give and any final thoughts, I would very much appreciate that.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. This has been fun. You have asked questions that have opened up part of my past that people didn't even know about. And so I'm glad, because everybody asks about the fitness and the social media, and they don't go back to ask like, where were you from? Where are you from? So thank you so much for that and allowing me to share my history. And I'm on all social media platforms. I shouldn't say all. I'm on TikTok as Real Bernice Taylor. I'm on Instagram, of course, The Real Bernice Taylor. I'm on Facebook as Bernice Taylor Fitness. I am on Pinterest. Now, if you are not on Pinterest and you have a brand, you're falling asleep. Pinterest is paying for content. We're in beta right now. I say we. It's in beta right now, but the money is amazing. So if you're not building up your Pinterest, let me just give you that advice. Go build it up. And then, so I'm on Pinterest as Bernice Taylor Fit, and LinkedIn is just Bernice Taylor. I also have a group on Facebook called Over 40 Youth. I started that group a few years ago in 2019 with only 600 followers on YouTube, and the goal is that you want to engage with your YouTube videos when you post them, kind of move it a little bit, right? To give it engagement. That group is not as active as I'd love for them to be, but it has helped me where I'm now at 12,400. It may not seem like a lot of people on YouTube. And by the way, I'm just Bernice Taylor on YouTube. But it is for me because YouTube, right? And if you can bring in, you get paid. So let me encourage you. If you want to join that group, I'm the admin, so ask me to join. Paul, you're in there. I haven't seen your videos yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's on Facebook. So that's me in a nutshell.
Great. So, folks, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that you appreciated me asking you about your upbringing, because that's what I find fascinating. You know, where people come from, what they've become, and there's such great stories of redemption. And but yours is just such an exciting story with growing up in Africa and then coming to the U.S. and experiencing, you know, some hardships, but ultimately prevailing and having this beautiful family and then this very successful career, and then now continuing on with helping others. You're really of service to other people, and you really are helping us with our social media and with our physical health, which I know a lot of us need. So I want to thank you for being here, and thank you for coming on Paul Vato Presents and sharing your story with me. I didn't know that you'd grown up in Africa, so for me that was fascinating to find out. And we could go on for a few more hours, but I won't do that to you today. But I hope that you can come back and visit again.
Absolutely.
And we can continue our conversation. So folks, please follow Bernice Taylor at Instagram.com/Real Bernice. Is it Real Bernice? The
I
Real.
chuckle at myself.
I'm going to take that again. I'm going to do that again. So, folks, please follow Bernice Taylor at Instagram.com, The Real Bernice Taylor, for your fitness and everything. And everything is there. Her link tree is there, and you can follow it to all her other social platforms. Join her groups on Facebook. And then I want to thank everyone. If you guys could do me a favor and head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a nice little review, that would really help our ratings. In the short time, 3 months that we've been here, 3.5 months, we've achieved some success, and which is hard to do in the podcasting industry. I'm in the top 250 in Ireland, believe it or not. People love me in Ireland. And top 50 podcasts and top 10 podcasts on Good Pods, which is a great podcasting community. If you love podcasts, go there. But if you go to paulvatopresents.com, you can follow all my social media links there and follow our podcast. But especially Apple Podcasts and Spotify, those are the most important ones. If you could leave us a review there and just a like. I'm going to hold on to my book. I have a book coming out, so I'll start promoting that in the near future. But I just want to thank everyone for being here, and especially my wonderful guest, Bernice Taylor. Bernice, thank you so much for